Whatever you've done, Linda, hats off to you. I feel like I'm in the presence of a really special woman, and I'm very grateful that I have found you. My early years was as a peripheral vascular cardiovascular ultrasound tech, and I specialized in pediatric and adult studies. And in the pediatric subcategory are the neonates, yeah, the babies born too early or the babies born with congenital heart defect. And I would be up there with a baby that would fit in my hand. And I would think, what happens to these babies? Fast forward that into my own child rearing with autistic. I have autistic children on the spectrum, and they have children on the spectrum. And many years of all of the Western medicine work, switching into massage therapy, finding Rosita and going, this is the missing piece, this abdominal work, right? And then being affiliated with Center for Childhood Development here in Michigan. And so for several years, I was involved in that clinic working with parents to help them, but also teaching parents to do the work on their children, working with some of the kids with CP, working with some of the kids on the spectrum, working with my own grandchildren, just understanding and starting to combine the therapy of working on the abdomen and then putting them in their speech therapy for the day, working on the abdomen and putting in the OT for the day, and seeing that the results were greater in those sessions. And also they would hold, that those children were able to make better gains and that the gains lasted. I'm also a craniosacral therapist, a visceral manipulation therapist, medical massage therapist, blah, 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 all of those different things. And so the toolkit has become rather large, really working to help people understand the magic of the abdomen, what happens in the abdomen, a neuroendocrine loop, how our hormones are in communication because of all that is possible to free through that abdomen, and understanding childhood injury patterns and how they've translated through up to an adult.
I was really very fortunate that what happened was Pat Wall was head of the Cerebral Studies Department, and he had been, and his team had been producing papers for a long time demonstrating the brain's capacity to recover function after a brain injury. Something in these enriched environments, whether it was the movement or the stimulation, was affecting the capacity of the brain to build new connections. As time went on, and I looked at papers that were being presented, seemed to think the exercise was more important than the enriched environment. When I wrote to Pat Wall, I was saying, well, look, the exercise is having an effect on the animal's respiratory capacity. So why do you not mention breathing? Well, we can't mention breathing because we haven't tested it. So I began to realize that if science was skewed in a particular way, that if it was too difficult to provide a statistical evidence based on being able to get that kind of data, then it was passed over. So you built a whole different structure, which was, in a sense, symptomatic, not really looking at the origin. And it seemed to me that the foundation of everything was the breath. So began to see more and more the potential of this organ. And because I was an artist, I was thinking, well, you've got this big organ going up and down inside. Do you mean it has no effect on anything else? I was already aware that the body was mostly fluid. So I thought to myself, if this is pumping up and down and there is all this fluid, what is driving human development? Not only that, of course, it's providing the oxygen that every cell requires. So if you're in that crucial position, then surely everything else will come into a combined responsive integrated integration with that system.
What I think of the abdomen, and I think of flow pattern, and I think of volume and water. Our whole system, we are water, right? There has to be, we're made to be seamless. And everything in the abdomen is connected everywhere. Some of the different stretches and techniques that we do in the abdominal massage can be felt up the neck into the face, can be felt down the legs into the toes, can be felt from the front to the back. When I think of lymphatic network and arterial network, venous network, nerve pathway, meridian system, when we address the issues of the abdomen and get everything in just a pliable, supple relationship, the brain, the vagus nerve, the interrelation of the vagus nerve's pathway into the abdominal organs, we really impact that, and then it just clears the neuro pieces that I see. That's the best way that I can explain it. And my way always is, let me show you. Get on the table. Let me show you.
Then even back then, although there's been more accepted evidence more recently, there were papers that connected genetic expression with the presence of oxygen and the presence of pressure. So I thought to myself, well, obviously that's what happens. You have no cells can live without the oxygen. You've got this wonderful system that is providing the oxygen, moving the fluids, preventing stagnation because it's so important for circulation. And also, the newborn has a weak, flat diaphragm. It needs to pump itself up to inflate from the inside, therefore opening up the shoulder girdle, the pelvic girdle, and the spine. And in this way, releasing blood supply to the nerves. What connected all the systems of the body? It was the breath, and more specifically, it was the diaphragm breath. And the diaphragm, of course, was descending into the abdomen. So rather than look to work into the other areas of tissue in the body, I thought it's the diaphragm. If we work on the diaphragm will do the job for us, because that's how it's done.
We have brought back more of the spiritual element and the nature of water into the work that we do. And so one of the other reasons that it works well, water has memory. And as we clear the flows, that memory can reestablish. And our intention as therapists, which we are very keen to have our people work with, is whether they say prayer, whether they say intention, whether they say affirmation, that this is a constant in our work as we are touching that belly to reawaken the memory of that soul. So there's that element of the work that doesn't necessarily fit into the sciences, but that is a very huge component, and I would be remiss to leave it out.
I then began to create a method that was attempting to copy the pressures of breathing inside the body from the outside. And there had to be very, very, very gentle and tender. There was a kind of tenderness. And I explained, it's not a massage. We're working on water. Water isn't compressible, at least not, it's not compressible. So you're creating waves, and you need to respond to the waves that you are creating within the diaphragm. And from this, we found that children were able to sit up who couldn't sit up. Those who were sitting poorly could sit better. Began to find that as the pelvis opened, they had the capacity to crawl and to stand and even to walk. And some of the children who clearly had autistic spectrum disorder or were ADHD, they were becoming much calmer and able to connect the emotional arousal and huge amounts of emotionally stored information much better to the rest of the brain.
I just am very touched, and because I've been with children in this situation, and I just see the work and the results more than anything. So whatever you've done, Linda, hats off to you. I feel like I'm in the presence of a really special woman. And I'm very grateful that I have found you. What I see, if you're working in the abdomen, this is only going to dovetail and support each other. Our work will support each other because we have such a huge need for people to be able to work with kids. And it's one of my pet issues and concerns. And how do I get people excited? And, because again, when we're working with kids, we're on the floor. I was always on the floor and crawling and getting them, they get up and they run and then they come back and then they get up and they move and integrate and come back. And so I'm just genuinely in awe and very delighted to be with you today.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So nice.
So I'm very delighted.